and welcome to Girls Unscripted. My name is Kate, hasn't changed.
And my name is still Carolyn, hasn't changed to Ken. Tricked ya.
And actually, you just reminded me, let's give a shout out. Last week, Carolyn and I both went on a podcast called Vanderpump Rules. I had been on it once before. He asked us back together and it was really fun. So his podcast is called Vanderpump Rules, and we actually were recapping Southern Hospitality Season 1, Episode 6.
We had so much fun.
It was fun.
I love doing that with him.
Yeah, he does his
He's legit.
He's legit. And he does his podcast pretty similarly to like, the structure was pretty much the same. So shout out to Rob. That was fun. And I don't know when it'll air, but we'll post about it.
Thanks, Rob.
So you guys can listen. Today, we are recapping Vanderpump Rules Season 1, Episode 7, titled In Love with Someone Else. Jax really, his emotions just changed quite quickly.
This episode had my jaw on the floor about 5 times.
Because of Jax?
Yes.
Yeah, he's insane.
What is happening in his little skull?
Nothing.
Not much.
Yeah.
Not a whole lot. Let's get into it.
Okay, so we start off at the sweatshop, I think is literally what it was called.
I've been to that sweatshop.
For those of you that don't know, it's not an actual sweatshop. It's just a place with a sauna in it that they very poorly chose to name the sweatshop.
Actually, that place was like a little meek. I like to go to the sweatshop where they wrap you in the thing and leave you there for an hour. Jax would not be able to handle it. You burn so many calories and then you watch Netflix.
That would give me anxiety.
It's horribly uncomfortable.
I would have like a claustrophobic
You want to
panic
claw
attack.
your eyes out the entire time.
But does it feel like you've had the best orgasm of your life afterwards, like Laura-Leigh says?
Honestly, that made me wonder. I was like, that's an interesting way to put it. I would say it makes you feel tired.
See, you know
exhausted.
what though? I do feel like if I'm in a sauna for a good period of time and I leave, I am just like,
it
so
feels
maybe,
great.
Yeah.
It's like being in the sun for a long time and then coming back in. Anyways, they're at the sweatshop and chaos ensues. They go into the sauna. It's like a little private sauna where they can go in by themselves.
I'm just laughing because this was actually a crazy way to start the episode. It started so hardcore with this scene.
It was absolute chaos. So they both go in the sauna. Jax can't take it. He stomps out. He chugs water. He continues to say how great the water is. He goes back in, but while he's out, Laura-Leigh also comes back out, is complaining about her Prozac, making her nauseous.
She keeps saying, I shouldn't have taken my Prozac today. I shouldn't. And Jax is just like, wow, this water. Oh my God. And she's like, I shouldn't have taken my Prozac today. And he literally could not care less about this bitch. She was in a fucking sauna, so she was definitely lightheaded. Probably
and it was just
eat.
We weren't expecting that.
Yeah,
we weren't expecting that to come out of her mouth.
She goes into like full panic attack. Like she's shaking.
Yeah.
You could she's flushed and he doesn't even look at her.
And so it's like 2 scenes going on at the same time of what she's going through and what he is going through. And it's absolute chaos. But this is where my jaw dropped, number 1. The most chaotic thing is when he gets back in. He's talking through the glass door of her because she's outside still like having a panic attack, and asks Laura-Leigh if, quote, this is what it's like talking to your dad. Two revelations here.
It was actually insane because you just did an amazing job at describing it. Like, that's how chaotic it was of like, oh my God, this water is amazing. Oh my God, my Prozac out. Oh, I'm having a panic attack. Oh my God, this is really hot. Also, your dad's in jail. Ha ha. Ha 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 ha. Like, what the fuck, dude? Like, and it sucked to watch because I felt like all she could do was laugh in that situation because she was
uncomfortable.
But she was kind of like, what the fuck? And it sucked because it took away from the drama that was just happening of her like going through this panic attack and him not giving a fuck to her then just being like, did you really just say that? But she's so like, I guess, insecure that she just laughs at it and she just is so infatuated with him. Also, it almost makes it seem like his behavior is okay.
And I wonder if this is among culture of people who have relatives in prison. Doesn't it feel like you're kind of outing that? Like, that should be her story to tell.
Yes, we haven't heard that.
We haven't heard that. Yeah. That shouldn't be a revelation that he just throws out there flippantly. Like, she should be able to have the control of that narrative.
She was also visibly shaking this entire scene. Like, even when
she was
calmed down a little
Prozac,
bit.
Yeah.
Oh man, I really feel so bad for her, and it just gets worse.
But we do learn here, and I was wrong. I was wrong about this last week. We do learn that she went to Juilliard. So somehow, when we first watched this, we knew that this chick had gone to Juilliard, and somehow that just escapes everyone's
said
mind.
so quickly.
Yeah, it's said so quickly. It also says so much about her.
I think it's like, I think you kind of said this last time too. It's hard to take her seriously as an actress because she just is a different type of person.
Right.
Yeah.
There's just a lot going on.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then, okay, last thing that happens here, a lot happens in the sauna. Jax is actively trying to ship Laura-Leigh to New York.
Yes. He's like, I mean, you should move to New York for like a month. I mean, yeah, I'd miss you, but like you should move to New York for a month.
You should really it's great for your career.
And it's funny because I feel like she also was trying to be like, I care more about my career than you. Like,
yeah.
She was like, no, I know. I'm a real actress. Like, this is what I need. Like, this is for my career. And it's like, but you would literally drop everything to be with this man. Like, it's so obvious.
No, which is made even more obvious later in the episode. Anyways, we continue.
So we're at Stassi's. Randomly has a new dog. That seems fucking responsible. That's beside the point, though.
It's very cute, though.
It's kind of a brief scene. She reveals to Katie that her and Frank broke up, and Katie is trying so hard to not seem excited. She's literally like sitting there like, like the smile is forcing through, like, oh my God, like that's crazy. But deep down, she's like, thank God.
Yep. And I thought she did a good job of trying to not be like, I told you so. She did say, like, this is what I was worried about, which is fair to say, because this is what she was worried about.
It would have been the perfect opportunity. Like, if the tables were turned, Stassi wouldn't have waited a second to say, I told you so.
Yeah, exactly.
But Katie did.
Exactly.
I think Katie is so timid. I could see how it was easy for her to essentially get walked all over by Schwartz and Stassi, like, throughout her time. And I think that's probably why she's such like a stone cold bitch now, in a good way.
And she's finding her voice in being in a reality TV show.
But it is interesting to watch like how timid Katie was in the beginning of this.
Yeah.
Then we kind of go back to like they're leaving the sweatshop scene. And what are you laughing at?
Just this whole thing of what happens next.
Well, first I thought it was weird that Laura-Leigh is thanking Jax for helping her get clean. Imagine thanking Jax Taylor for keeping you sober. And Jax is like, you've literally been sober for 6 days.
They were literally he was talking about Jack in the Box. And it just switches from Jack in the Box to, I just really wanted to thank you, like, for keeping me or getting me sober, which I do think that is also explains a lot, because getting sober with someone, like, that's a very transformational time. It's a very vulnerable time. If there was more to the story of like maybe he was with her for the couple days or something while she was having withdrawals, that's a very different story than him just getting into this thing and her being sober.
Right. But it seemed like she was sober and then relapsed while she was with him.
But then we get into the conversation. Exactly. So then we get in the conversation, though, of, oh, but I still relapse and I lie about it. And I told you that.
Yeah, I wrote that down too. And then Jax is like, well, I can't trust you. Like, you're at my house and I have a bar at my house. How do I know? But he's more so concerned about himself and his alcohol versus the mental and physical well-being of the girl that he's currently dating.
100%. Completely wrong motivations for those concerns.
Also, you knew this about her before you started fucking her and still chose. Basically, he now has to be a babysitter for Laura-Leigh, and it's not fun for him anymore.
But that's what I'm saying. Can you imagine if she weren't sober and he was fucking her as she got sober, like during that time?
She would have never gotten sober.
It's like trauma bonding.
She would have never gotten sober.
Like, I'm
sorry, you can't date Jax Taylor and be sober.
I know. Well, Jax is also super intense. And I could see him being like, look, I don't care what it takes. I don't care if I'm here all night. You're not going to be drinking for the next 24 hours and I'm going to be here till you do it. You're like, I wouldn't be that surprised.
Really? You think he'd put that much oomph into it?
That's giving him the benefit of the doubt, or just like, not even that. That's giving him a good edit in my eyes. But it's also giving him a bad edit, because in my mind, if that happened, that would make a lot more sense why she's so connected to him.
That's true.
And
I agree
acting
with you.
as if he is Jesus and she is
like
John
she can't.
Baptist.
And now she's too latched onto him, and he's seeing that, and he's like, well, fuck, I'm stuck now. I can't get out.
Right. Who knows? I'm just saying, because the way she phrased it made me think, oh, I wonder if there's more of the story than we see on here of you helped me get sober. That's a very, like, you helped.
I could also imagine her just chilling at his place while he's out and about, and because he let her stay over, she's like, you really helped me, thank you. I just like needed a place to be.
That's also very true.
Like, I think Jax could do the bare minimum and she would be kissing his feet.
That's true. You're so right. And you know what? We'll never know.
We'll never know.
Guess we'll never know.
Okay, so we go to Sir, and it's just a little blip where we find out that Lisa is planning a party for Muhammad, who is Yolanda Hadid's ex-husband. We hear a lot about him in
Isn't
Real
he Gigi
Housewives.
and Bella's dad?
Yes, Gigi and Bella's dad and Anwar's dad.
Oh, yes. Sorry.
They want the best waitresses on the job, and Peter suggests Sheena, but it won't fly if Brandy's there. And then that's all we get.
That's all we get. That's all there is to say about it, because that's all that happened.
Yep.
Then we go to a rooftop pool with what starts with Sheena and Stassi, which is the unlikely friendship that has now blossomed enough
Katie.
to come over to her rooftop pool.
Yeah.
They talk about Kristen not being invited. Stassi is going to get an anti-bully talk from Peter about Laura-Leigh. I also love, within like the same breath, she also called Laura-Leigh ugly.
Yeah.
Or a
we gotta
fucking skank.
We gotta keep in mind it's still 2013 here. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. They can't all be perfect.
Like, she's just rip-roaring out of the gate with all that.
I just love that it's Sheena, Katie, and Stassi. They're in the biggest sunglasses I've ever seen, sock buns, statement necklaces, and neon tank tops. I'm like, that is, I wish I could go back in time and just be there with you guys right now.
Yes. Oh, sorry, I forgot to mention.
Well, Katie was there, but she didn't really talk that much.
Right,
so.
we forget. Sorry, it's part of the problem.
And then Kristen shows up, angry, hungover, and completely ignoring Stassi.
Yep. As if Stassi did not exist.
Didn't even exist. But you know what also didn't exist is Stassi's will to work.
Oh my God.
The column that she's been so like graciously handed by Lisa and Pandora, and she's so grateful that they gave her this opportunity. Yet
Truly.
she's obviously not, because all she has to do is write a fucking column, but she needs to go to the pool with her girls.
And she's trying to get Wi-Fi. She's trying.
It's not her fault. There's no Wi-Fi at the pool that I chose to go to instead of staying at my house and working.
And that I'm actively ignoring Pandora's phone calls.
Oh my gosh, I forgot about that too.
Yeah, you don't need them. Silence them.
Okay, I just have to say, I was fucking shocked that this next scene was even allowed to be filmed. We're in an actual AA meeting with real people.
Yeah, a good point.
It's crazy.
Good
I mean,
point.
I couldn't believe, like, I obviously knew this happened. I just forgot. Like, I don't know. I felt like they're really leaning into Laura-Leigh this episode. I do believe that they thought she was going to be a main cast member. I mean, she gives main character energy. Mm-hmm. She would have had a great redemption. It's like, she's this girl, she's trying to make it, she's relapsing, she's trying to get back on her feet. So I feel like we're seeing a lot of Laura-Leigh. Jax joins the AA meeting to be there by her side and support her, so we think. Mm-hmm. I thought it was interesting. Laura-Leigh reveals that she started drinking at 12 years old and then got heavily into meth. I always wonder how.
Yeah, which is a really like privileged thing for us to say.
You know what? You're right.
Because we're just not in the circles where that's culturally going to be brought up.
You know what's really fascinating though? It seemed like this kind of all maybe happened in her younger years. She started drinking, started doing meth, still managed to get into fucking Juilliard.
That's what, there's a story here.
We need like the E True Hollywood story on Laura-Leigh.
Of what her journey was.
Yeah.
Because that doesn't just happen. I don't know where she's from originally. Has she mentioned that?
I don't know.
We don't know. But we do know that she got into meth and was robbing and pawning her family's stuff at an early age. It got really bad. And that she's still powerless over glasses of wine.
Yeah, it just sounds really bad. She's from Staten Island, New York.
Yeah.
Wouldn't have been able to tell by that accent.
And then so naturally, at the tail end of this meeting, not having even left the building.
Still inside at the AA meeting. They're cleaning up the donuts.
Jax decides this is the right time. You say it, Kate.
He's going to break up with her.
He's going to break up with her at the AA meeting after she just did the most vulnerable thing one person can do.
Yes. I feel like when he was sitting there listening to her tell this story,
you could see his eyes. It's like a cartoon. Like
yes.
Just get wider and wider.
Yes, and he was like sinking in his seat. But it's almost as if she didn't tell him she was a fucking addict. Like, you knew this. Like, it's almost like I was waiting for him to be like, I knew you were addicted to drugs, but I didn't know you were addicted to drugs. Like, like, what the fuck do you think this means? This isn't a joke. Like, he obviously never took her seriously.
Well, he's also clearly never been around someone going through rehabilitation.
Yeah.
Hello, if you're in AA, there's like steps and stuff. There's stuff you should know. That I'm sure she's talked about.
Right. But
he just go, woo.
Yeah, she's talked about it.
In one ear out the other.
But he didn't listen.
Yeah, he did not
And
care.
I think he was actually fascinated by her depth when he first met her, because I think he probably thought being with someone like her made him a better person.
Yeah. And it was interesting to him, I bet.
Yeah. And then it got too real. Yeah. And he just decided, like he says, like he just wanted to slow things down a little bit.
Yeah.
Not hang out as much, but he still wants to have sex as much as they're having. He doesn't want to slow that down.
I don't know what's worse. Breaking up with her at an AA meeting, or breaking up with her and still clarifying that he would still like to be inside you every once in a while.
Right. Here's how I would translate it. I knew you were addicted to drugs, but I didn't know you were addicted to drugs. I want to break up with you, but I still want to be able to fuck you. So let's not hang out as much, but we can still hang out to fuck, but you just have to like leave after.
I want to miss you.
But I actually don't give a fuck about you anymore.
I don't give 2 iotas of a fuck.
New York is calling. New York is there.
He's so good.
And it's funny because he acts like he's done nothing wrong. Like in his talking heads, like he's like, I just can't handle it. This is too much. Like, blah, blah, blah. Like, you get it. Like, I can't date an addict. I'm afraid she'll steal from me. I didn't know she stole from her family. Like, what if she steals from me? It's like, you are so bad. You're a bad person.
But I also think he's just super uneducated.
Yes. What?
Like
Jax Taylor uneducated?
But like to a point that is egregious for a 33-year-old not to be educated on at this point.
Yeah.
I think.
At its core, it's a really sad scene.
Yes.
And I think it's a funny scene to like, because it's a scene that's talked about a lot. Like, how crazy is it that Jax Taylor broke up with Laura-Leigh at her AA meeting?
Crazy.
Like, that's
Remember
crazy.
when Jax?
When you go back and watch it, he is a horrible person.
Yeah.
This poor girl really does go through so much. Now, granted, she doesn't really do herself any favors because she puts herself in a lot of the drama too, like with Stassi and stuff. But like the name calling with Laura, like, it's amazing that she managed to stay sober and to try to get herself back on track.
Well, also great point, because we know later that this was it, and then he stops talking to her.
Yeah.
Ghosts her, which is one thing to ghost. Ghosting happens. It's 2024, ghosting still happens. But to ghost an addict, you need to have better communication with that. Like that was
because
really
in Laura-Leigh's
bad.
defense, she's like, why is this surprising to you? I've told you everything.
And that's why she's so attached to him, because she thought that he still loved her after all that she's told him.
Yeah.
That's the sad thing.
It really, you know what? It's just so sad. But we go back, we get more Laura-Leigh later on.
Yeah.
Other sad scenes.
Oh God. Well, she comes back. That's for sure.
Oh, she comes back. We get a quick little scene at Villa Rosa. And Lisa and Pandora have a problem. Stassi's not quite pulling her weight on the column. So they need to call her in for a little meeting.
I knew it was bad. I didn't know it was 2 months bad. She's not sent one column in 2 months.
Be fucking for real.
Can you imagine just like not showing up for a gig for 2 months?
No. Well, I guess she's not like getting paid. Like she probably, like, I don't know. We don't
crazy. Know the situation.
So they have to bring her in, and Pandora kind of has to lay the hammer down, which is, I'm sure, awkward because they're friends or whatever.
Yeah.
And Stassi says, you know what? I can turn this. Let me cry about Jax and Laura-Leigh and tell them I had the worst 2 months and make them feel bad for me. And it works. She's a manipulative genius.
Somehow it works that she doubles down on being a bully to Laura-Leigh.
Yeah.
Now it works for her to say, absolutely I am.
Yep.
And here's tears about it.
All
and
that
that
I've been
works.
through.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's insane. So they give her another chance. The boys are at the park, and this is one of the rare scenes of all 3 guys together. Tom, and Jax, we haven't seen yet. I do just want to say, because I talked about this last episode, that park is in Burbank. And I think that they live in the Valley. I think that one of them lives in the Valley. That park is next to Legendary's office. I used to work at Legendary, and I would take my lunch breaks there and think about how I was going to fucking quit that job. Mm-hmm. And then...
Did you do exercise breaks like they did on the equipment?
No, but I knew that equipment
was... It was nice seeing someone do that for once.
I knew that equipment was there. No, people actually used it at that park.
That's amazing.
Anyways... there's really not much that goes on in this scene other than Sandoval reveals that he will never trust Stassi. He thinks she's possessive. It's just further proves they never fucking liked each other. And actually, Sandoval never has liked any women. He went from hating Stassi to hating Katie. Like, he's possessive, actually.
Yeah.
I guess he liked Brittany.
Yeah. But, I mean, Jax, this is the first time where he kind of hints that he still has feelings for Stassi, which is... I almost had to rewind because I was like, wait, what? I forget this even happened.
Well, you're right. Actually, that's a good point. I guess this scene was needed because I was just like, this is such
there
a
needed
blip.
to be a lead-in to the
or
next
else it would have
thing.
felt so random.
Out
You're
of
right.
literally nowhere.
You're absolutely right.
Which it felt out of literally nowhere for me.
Yeah, we definitely missed some things for sure. But
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
They're keeping us
It's
on
a
track.
show.
We're actually at Sir for basically the rest of the episode. Laura-Leigh wants to be in the same section as Stassi, but Stassi is begging Peter to switch them, and he won't because he actually takes his job seriously.
Begging.
Laura-Leigh decides to have look, here's what I mean by Laura-Leigh does this to herself. I'm just going to reenact it because I also have a wedgie and I need to fix that. She's like you're Stassi, and you're just sitting there giggling with her friends, and this is Laura-Leigh. She's just like, no, you know what? We need to talk. And it's like, she wasn't even looking at your direction. Stassi would have very easily just ignored you this entire work shift. But Laura-Leigh, you know, she was like practicing in the mirror, and she's like, okay, and then call her a spoiled brat. But then she flubs her line and she calls her a spoiled brat.
A spoiled.
You're a spoiled brat. And then Stassi's like,
spoiled.
And she's like, spoiled. Anyway, sorry. I got
But
a little
it's
crazy
also revealed here that she is still rage texting Laura-Leigh. And I argue in court that if Stassi is genuinely still... It's been weeks, Kate.
I didn't know
it has been weeks that she has been texting every night.
But see, I question that. I question that.
Texts. I would approach her too and be like, girl, what the fuck?
I question that. She
didn't deny it.
You're right. And I was waiting for her to deny it.
She did not deny it. In fact, she's doubled down every time anyone said, like, look, whoa, you and Laura-Leigh, like, you need to calm down a bit. She said, absolutely not. She's a fucking home-wrecking whore.
You can tell she was. You're not wrong. Stassi was trying to get her to quit the job.
Yes.
Like, she wanted her out of her life.
Yeah.
Because Stassi wouldn't be happy until she wins.
Right.
But Laura-Leigh was not doing herself any favors in this scene.
No, she was going to battle, and she did it the wrong way. She had the wrong strategist.
She has a sick line, though. Laura-Leigh says to Stassi, you need to take your victim tampon out of your ass and take some responsibility. But then, Stassi, unfortunately, is the best arguer and completely schools her. Laura-Leigh, this is where she didn't. She says... Sure, he calls you beautiful, but I'm the one he's fucking every night.
Well,
I don't think that hit quite like she expected it to.
No.
I don't think
it wasn't as much of a burn as I think she thought that
it was really a self-burn, a self-inflicted burn, if you will.
And I mean, she's playing checkers. Stassi plays chess.
Literally.
She had no hope here going in.
Can they just stop fighting over Jax? That is my note. Stop fighting over Jax, and I have like 20 exclamation points.
It's so stupid.
Like, they are fighting over Jax Taylor. But Stassi is a manipulative genius again, and she does play the victim, and she goes to Guillermo, and she was like, Guillermo, that was just like insane. Like, I just like don't feel safe. I need to leave. And Guillermo's like, I guess.
Guillermo's like, can you not?
Yeah. He's like,
it's a Friday night. Can you
She's
please
like,
not?
I just, that was just crazy what just happened. I'm like, you know what? I was going to say you started it, but she didn't. Laura-Leigh did start it.
Well, good thing she stays, because then we get the next plot point in that storyline.
Okay, I was confused, though, if this was like different days at Sir.
They might have been. I was thinking that, too.
I think the rest of the episode, it's like, Sir, but we don't really know. I was trying to base it by the hairstyles.
That's a good point. I do think her breakdown to Stassi and her breakdown to Jax were the same day. Because I don't think she would go do that breakdown twice.
Well, no.
I think you're seeing a nervous breakdown.
When she goes up to Jax at the bar, she's not wearing a uniform. She's in regular clothes.
Fuck.
Yeah,
you're right.
I did notice that.
You're
I think it's all different days.
No, girl.
She's
girl needs a hug.
That's what I'm saying. She's got all these fucking monologues. So, okay, let's go in order though. So now we're at Sir for the party, and Sheena is pissed because she was told she has to come and serve this party, but then she gets moved to a separate room because Brandy's at the party, and she's mad because she skipped her audition. To me, I'm reading between the lines. I'm mad at production. I think she was called in and this was a call time. She had to be at this big party where the Real Housewives are going to be blah, blah, blah. Because to me, that's worth skipping an audition. If this was just her going into work, she wouldn't do it. I think that it was pitched to her as we need you for this scene. And then it got switched of like, actually, it's just a normal work night.
That's such a good insight, Kate. And that makes it make a lot more sense.
It's just a theory.
And I might take her points down a little bit for that.
Okay. I mean, I could be wrong.
She still did have a very full-blown meltdown to her boss.
I will say the crying is a bit much. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, no, everyone would have been fired had that been anyone else, I think.
But I wonder, too, is that her also just venting to Peter?
Right. And I do think they see Peter more as a friend than a boss.
Of like, I got fucking called in for this, blah, blah, blah. Like, this is bullshit. I wouldn't have done that. Like, it's almost as if
once again, he's just caught in the middle of war.
Right. Yeah. Right. So I did feel bad for her. It was the second time in like 10 minutes that someone walked out of a SIR shift, though. Stassi just walked out. She just walked out. I'm like, you can walk out of a shift. Yeah, that's grounds for fire.
And that also makes me wonder, was that the same night? They're making all of this seem it's in the same day. Like, I think those were different days.
I have no idea.
Because one she went to Guillermo and one she went to Peter.
Yeah.
And one she came in for Peter. So
I just don't know.
I don't know. I'm actually confusing myself the more I talk about it. I do think it's a little silly, though, that Scheana thinks, well, you know what? I sat down with Brandy and I talked to her once.
She's the Lulu.
And she needs to be over it.
Yeah.
When they revealed that was 2 weeks ago, which also really made me put days into perspective, because I was like, okay, so they had the transition scene 2 weeks ago. So clearly this was a lot earlier or later.
Holy shit.
Right? Like,
yeah, the timeline's not timelining right now.
it was only 2 weeks ago, Scheana. You did sleep with her husband 4 years.
And ruined her marriage. Well,
the
marriage would have been ruined anyways.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
Yeah. Damn, yeah. I always wonder, I mean, I'm such a fucking cynic. I'm like, do you actually care about Brandy, or do you just want the screen time that comes with being able to be in the same room with Brandy?
Oh, 1,000% the latter.
Yeah.
And I think Lisa cared more about the drama between Scheana and Brandy, but I think she saw how badly it went last time, and she knew she couldn't do it again.
100%.
She knew it just couldn't happen again.
Because Lisa's also trying to like save face on Real Housewives, because
Beverly
she's
Hills.
currently on Beverly Hills too
With Brandy.
I don't know if these timelines add up. There was a time during the Real Housewives where Brandy was like, you knew that Scheana like basically accused her of using Brandy's pain to like benefit both of her shows.
Yeah, you brought her in as the waitress. You really didn't think that was going to do anything to me.
Exactly. Jax is sad at work and he pulls Stassi for a chat to basically say that he is going to do everything in his power to win her back. He's going to prove himself to her. Stassi says, you have a girlfriend. Like you have a girlfriend. And Jax says, Laura-Leigh was a distraction.
She was a distraction at best. I was hurting. I didn't know what to do. Blah, blah, blah. Manipulation. And it kind of works. Stassi gets the feels.
She's crying, and I do genuinely feel like at this point in time, they are in love with each other.
Yeah.
I really do feel that.
Yeah. I would believe that.
Jax reveals in this scene that he moved in with Stassi 2 days after he met her, which like that just checks out.
You probably needed a place to live. Sorry. Yeah, keep going.
It also worked out that he was couch surfing and she needed a place to live. Mm-hmm. But yeah, he's begging her for forgiveness. He wants her trust back. He says, I just want to be your friend. And then one day I want to propose to you. He said, I'll be a bartender forever if it means that I can just be with you. And she loves it.
And again, he says all the right things you'd want a shitty boyfriend on a redemption arc to say. He says, I don't care. All I needed to hear from you is that there's a chance.
Yeah.
That's all I needed.
Yeah.
Now we can continue on my plan and I will get you back.
And you know, he's smarter than we let him off to be like, he knows that this is exactly what she wants to hear.
He's very intelligent.
Yeah.
The way that he can manipulate humans is frightening. Again, sociopathic, which again, I will bring up every episode. Stassi has quizzed him on and he did pass.
It is crazy to know that like they like were on fine terms towards the end.
Eventually,
and they were just like friends and whatever. When this is like the most toxic, tumultuous relationship ever.
And yeah.
It's crazy to even like, I mean, I guess they don't have a choice but to interact with each other.
I think I saw her say that on an episode one or some interview where she's like, there's no choice but to get over it because you're with each other.
Yeah, fair.
You have to be with it. It's not real world timeline.
Okay, then we're still at Sir, a separate scene of Sir, and Laura-Leigh is coming at Jax for ghosting her.
In the dab middle of a work day, in the middle of a work drink, in the middle of customers.
Customers are literally ordering. Jax is making the drink, and she's like, yeah, he just stopped talking to me for no reason. He doesn't want you to know how bad of a person he is. It's like, Laura-Leigh.
It was truly shocking, and I want to find those people so badly. I hope they know, like, they were a part of history.
That's a good point. Like,
did they know? Like, they were probably just like, "What the fuck is happening?"
Yeah, like we literally
There's
just
a camera.
We're here on vacation.
Yeah.
They probably don't. They're like, we're from Denmark. We don't even
We
know.
don't speak.
But he is gaslighting the fuck out of her
It's
before
sad.
gaslighting was even a term.
Yeah.
And if I were Laura-Leigh, I would also be like, where did this come from?
Yeah.
Like, I thought we were doing fine. She does have another one of her Emmy Award winning monologues that you know she practiced in front of the mirror. Mm-hmm. She does. Oh, this was like one of the craziest parts of the scene. She says to Jax, I deserve respect for you to say to me, I'm in love with her. I can't talk or see or hang out with you ever again. So then Jax goes, I'm in love with her. I can't talk or see or hang out with you ever again.
He follows instructions.
But then Laura-Leigh goes, okay, but why? Like,
that is a great point.
he's doing what you just asked him to do. I mean, he's being a dick. I get it. Like, she does want answers. And the craziest part is she found out that he was done with her because he unfriended her on Facebook.
On Facebook.
Didn't
Remember when
even-
that was a flex to unfriend someone you dated on Facebook? That
Oh, yeah, I
dates
guess
me.
you're right. No, I guess you're right.
It was a thing of like, sorry, I just can't have you in my life like that anymore.
Yeah, I guess you're right. People did do that.
Unfriend.
She is going on a fucking rampage saying the craziest shit.
She's not seeing red. She's seeing like sadness. It's like
Yeah.
the red of sad.
Yeah, reds and blues.
Reds and blues.
Yeah.
It is a stormy vision in her mind. Right
And
now.
she's saying things like, we've been fucking without condoms.
Oh God, yes.
Yeah.
Didn't even bring that up. They've been not using protection.
Yeah. It's just sad. I, now watching this as a 31-year-old woman, I can sit here and say Laura-Leigh was not crazy. I totally understand. I mean, she's a little crazy. But I totally understand her being confused and gaslit. And like, he was manipulating and gaslighting her. He was making her believe that he was there for her. They were sharing these intimate moments and conversations. And she thought this was like the man she was falling in love with. And this was a woman
Especially
for him to
if,
fuck.
that's what I'm saying, especially if he really did help her get sober.
And I bet, you're right, and I bet they talked so much shit on Stassi together. And now he's going back to Stassi. She's like, are you kidding me?
It's the one girl you always worry about.
Yeah.
He's going back to her. Like
Yeah.
it's a horrible feeling.
Yeah. She's just riddled with confusion. And I don't blame her. And you know what? She says multiple times, you're stuck with me until I book a job. And when you see me on red carpets and when you see me on TV, you're going to blah, blah, blah. Thank fucking God she does book a job.
She does book a job.
Like, thank God
Thank
she
God
books
for
a job.
her, not for us. We
I know, I
lost
miss her.
something precious that we had going here.
Do we think that she would be okay if she stayed on reality TV?
No. Are any of them okay? And they don't
Stassi
have
got
intentions of
better.
putting that in quotes.
Stassi got better.
Stassi got better.
It took a bit of a cancellation for her to really see that she...
It's been an arc for all of them.
Yeah, but-
man, a steep arc.
And that is how they end the episode. Laura-Leigh storms out after fighting with Jax in front of the customers.
No. And Laura-Leigh storms out, but only after he sees Stassi walking through, and little manipulator knows this is his chance
Oh, yup. Tell him.
to really make his point known
And says...
that it's not his fault he's in love with somebody else.
Stassi comes in to get a glass. And it honestly didn't even really fit into what they were talking about.
Nothing, yeah.
As he's handing her the glass, he goes, and it's not my fault I'm in love with someone else. And I'm like, he's a genius.
He's an evil genius.
I can't believe we were sitting here saying Jax Taylor's a genius, but watching this back, he's a genius.
He knows what he's doing.
He knows what he's doing. But I think he loses her again next episode.
Well, we'll see.
Is next episode the finale?
Yes. Which I was so confused. There are 10 episodes, but one's the reunion. They have a reunion, which is weird.
Oh, and is one like the unseen
And one's secrets revealed.
secrets revealed? Yeah.
Yeah.
Damn. Wow.
Which is crazy that we went through that so fast.
I know. It was really hard for me to not watch the next episode
Yeah,
after this one. I
me
almost
too.
did. All right, please take us through my favorite part. And by the way, I think the sheet's starting to catch on. People are really liking it.
Okay, number 1. Jax asks through a glass door if this is what talking to your dad is like because he is in prison. I gave that a 3.
Yes, thank you.
I gave that a 3. That was shocking.
It's not quite 4 level, but man, it's fucking bad.
It's really close. Don't worry. I gave him 1 in this episode. Jax tries to outsource Laura-Leigh to New York. I give that a 1. Stassi calls Laura-Leigh ugly in response to being told she has to get an anti-bully talk. 1, it's ironic, funny, and sad all at the same time. Stassi calls Kristen a fucking skank, and I just told you from the beginning, I'm not going to take those insults here. I'm going to give her a 1. Stassi's late turning in her column to Pandora for 2 months and ignores her calls. I still am only going to give it a 1.
Yeah.
Jax breaks up with Laura-Leigh at/after AA. I give this a 4.
Yeah. What's the 4 mean again?
4 means as most people would never do these things.
Yeah, I mean, Jesus Christ.
It's almost 5 worthy. That's not real. Should I give it a 5?
No, keep it at 4 because it's unfortunately like not surprising.
Yeah, it's at the end of the day, it was a breakup and he ill-timed it in his words. Okay. Jax still wants to have sex after he breaks with her after AA. I then gave him 3. So I did give him
so it adds
2
up
separate,
to over 5.
That was my, I remember now, that was my compensation. Stassi doubles down on bullying Laura-Leigh because of her betrayal. This was to Lisa, again manipulating her way out of getting in trouble. I gave it a 2. I don't know why. I guess this had to do with Lisa. Whatever, it's my rules.
Yeah.
Stassi fights with Laura-Leigh at Sir. It was, again, if we had Laura-Leigh on here, she would also be on that sheet. She's not.
Right.
But the fight was mean. It made fun of her accent. It
Right.
did dig low. It was, making fun of the fact that she's been sleeping with Jax. So I did give it a 2.
Okay.
Stassi is still, this is where we might disagree. Stassi is still rage testing Laura-Leigh. Parentheses,
well,
it's
you're
been
right.
weeks.
She didn't deny it.
If it's been weeks.
That's harassment.
That's straight up
literal harassment.
illegal. She should call the police. I gave that a 4. If it's true, but I guess it could not be true, and I could see it going back down to a 3.
Yeah, but we're taking everything at face value here.
Exactly.
So keep it at a 4. It's your, like you said, you can do whatever you want.
My rules. Stassi leaves work on a Friday night. Parentheses, Guillermo was pleading for her not to. Gave that a...
They give this woman so many opportunities.
Oh, wait. Sheena yells at Peter and melts down at work. We understand there were her motivations behind it. It's still a 2 because she was talking to her boss.
Yeah.
And it was extremely inappropriate. Sheena can't compose herself and then leaves work. Also begged not to. Also a 2.
Yeah, I mean, she did kind of act a fool at work. So
She went off the chain. Off the chain. That was so embarrassing.
She went off the chain.
She went off the chain, y'all. Okay, Jax tries to manipulate Stassi back into a relationship right after he broke up with Laura-Leigh. I gave that a 3 because it was out of nowhere. Absolutely crazy manipulative behavior.
Also, be single.
Just don't date.
Just be fucking yes, sorry.
Just don't date. And then Jax ignores Laura-Leigh and ghosts her. I gave that a 3. And the way that he gaslights her at the bar, I felt it was deserving of a 3.
Well deserved. He's an asshole. He's being an asshole.
So this episode, Stassi somehow gets 13. It's normal Stassi stuff. I'll say if Laura-Leigh were on here, she'd probably get the same amount.
You're right. Yeah.
It's not fair that she's not, but it is also fair because that's the name of the game. It's a sport. Don't hate the rules. Okay.
Yeah.
Jax gets 17 and Sheena gets 4.
Jax deserved that 17.
Now this is where it gets interesting. Overall, Stassi now has 72. Jax is right there at 68. They are almost neck and neck.
He's going to surpass her next episode.
And he's going to surpass her. This is what I predicted on my TikTok. He's going to surpass her. Sheena has 16. Kristen still has 25.
That's insane, though, how the gap is between Jax and Stassi and everyone else.
I wish I also showed the graph. You saw how it was just...
There's also more scenes with Jaxie. There's also more scenes with Jaxie.
That's
Stassi
what I do
and Jax.
like to say as well. More points does mean more airtime, which does mean winning in some books. So maybe we get more complex. We can adjust. Kristen's still at 25 with a strong third. Schwartz and Katie are 9 and 11 respectively. So it's really anybody's race. I do think Jax is going to catch up and surpass Stassi.
Yeah, I think this next episode is a big one for him.
Yeah.
So
the season finale. Yeah, it is a big one.
What is it that he just, because we both haven't watched it, is it just really like, I always forget, like, well, what could happen next episode? I feel like we've seen everything. Is it going to be him admitting that he did get a girl pregnant in Vegas?
Which, if you were watching the first time, I remember the first time watching that, you did not see that coming.
I also feel like we're kind of over it. Like, we're done with that.
We're done. He brought it back up when he didn't need to.
Yeah.
There was no benefiting him doing that.
Yeah.
That's what makes me wonder, like, why did he? Was it producer's screen time?
Well, I guess we'll see. In the next episode, we'll see if maybe we see through a little something else. We're just doing ASMR for fun because it's been a while.
I had one ready last week.
Okay.
And I didn't do it because you said you didn't like it on these microphones.
No, it's not that I don't like it on these mics. It's when we do it over Zoom and you whisper, I can't hear you because the Zoom doesn't pick you up.
Understood.
The microphone would pick you up, but I wouldn't be able to hear you.
Okay, wait, hold please. That's the only reason, guys, I've not been doing the ASMR because we've been using these little mics and haven't been back in our normal place.
Just a big miscommunication between hosts here, really, is all it is.
It wasn't a fight, but it was a miscommunication.
It was a miscommunication. I could have communicated better.
We'll give it a
Ask
post-mortem.
questions.
Yeah, we'll dissect it. Okay, I get self-conscious every time I get back in the saddle.
It's okay. It's like riding a bike.
And when I just commit to the bit and ask everyone to please lie down. Please go into a happy place inside your eyeballs. Look at your eyelids and see something super happy. Relax and welcome to some Vanderpump Rules ASMR. The only thing I have holding me back is that I have self-respect and dignity. Thank God for Kristen, who is unburdened by those anchors.
Stassi is a bitch.
Stassi's so good at being a bitch.
She has good lines.
She is so great. What a great quip.
The reason I think she's so iconic is because this was before that you knew, like, it's before people like did things for airtime, right? It's like,
right.
Now I feel like people go into these reality shows with like I want to get more airtime and screen time, and I have all these jokes planned at a time. I just felt like it was just so natural for Stassi.
No, she's a star.
She's the blueprint.
Yeah.
All right, well, on that note,
thank you so much for watching, everybody. Thank you so much we got a bunch of new subscribers last week. We were super excited. We're almost to 100 people until we reach 1,000 subscribers on YouTube.
That was an interesting way to say that we're almost at 1,000. So we're almost 100 people away from 1,000. We're almost at 900 subscribers.
Basically, I'm saying please subscribe. And we will see you next week with the finale.
The finale. Fuck yeah. I can't wait.
Fuck yeah. And anything else? That's that.
Hey, and thanks for all your comments about liking this new setup. We read everything. We look at everything.
We listened. We're here.
Yeah.
You can see my face now.
Yeah. We may not love that you can see every pore.
I don't love that, but
every
I'm glad
beam of sweat. Every loose hair on my eyebrow. But you know what? It's fine because we do this for you. So thank you for watching.
Thanks, Gabbers. Love you. Bye.